Okay, let's go over the review packet here. We're on page 33, the Unit 8 review packet. Here we go. Question 1 says, which of the following statements is true? 4 is less than 8. Well, it's definitely not that. -1 is less than -4. Well, -1 is closer to 0, so it's greater. -9 is greater than 0. That's also not true. Notice I'm reading all these. -2 is greater than -7. It is that one. Okay, so notice as I read them, I picked the one that made the most sense. It was definitely letter B. Which set of integers is graphed on the number line? So it looks like we have -5, -3, and 0. And that's what we have here, -5, -3, and 0. The other ones would have numbers that were not graphed. So it would be B for that one. Which expression has the greatest value? It says be sure to show work, which means write the value of the expression below it. Absolute value of -13 is 13, but it's the opposite of that. So it's -13 because the negative sign is outside. You'd keep it. Absolute value of -1, distance to 0 is 1. Negative absolute value of -22, that's going to be -22. Absolute value of 20 is 20. So you're trying to find the one with the greatest value. These are both negative. These are positive. The one that has the greatest value would be D. 20 is greater than -22 or -13 or 1. All right, 4. What's the expression? What is the value of the expression? To show your work for this, you rewrite the expression. Then beneath each absolute value, you write the value. Absolute value of -31 is 31. Plus the absolute value of -9 is 9. 31 plus 9 is 40. So the answer would be D, 40. Now, keep in mind the test is very similar to the review packet. So if you're missing something, like if you didn't write the values below, you might want to do that just for practice. If you didn't show your work there, it does say show your work. Make sure you have something that looks like mine so you're practicing for the test. Number 5, which integer best represents a deposit? Keyword deposit. Putting money into a savings account. You're increasing the value of the savings account. The only one that's positive would be A. -37 is negative. Negative absolute value of 37 is negative. And D would also be negative. So this is the only one that's positive. That would be letter A. Number 6, write -2/9 as a decimal. So it's going to be -0 point something. We'll put 2 in the box, top in the box, divide by 9. 9 goes into 2 0 times. 9 goes into 20 2 times. Now all of these have a 2 in the tens place, so I can't really stop. Although it's definitely not D because that's -2.2, so we know it's -0. 2 times 9 is 18. 20 minus 18 is 2. Annex of 0, bring it down. 9 goes into 20 twice. 9 times 2 is 18. And what you notice here is going to happen is these are going to repeat forever. So it's going to be, these 2's are going to keep going on forever. So it's -0.2 repeating, which is A. Again, you want to show your work for that. Top in the box would do that for you. Okay, so the 2's are going to keep repeating. That's why it's not C. C is when they would stop. We need the bar to show they repeat forever. Okie dokes. Number 7. We're going to order these from least to greatest. Well, I already set this up from last time. So my goal is to change these fractions to decimals. So I'm going to do this first with 1/9. Put the top in the box, divide by 9. 9 goes into 1 0 times. Decimal point. Decimal point. 9 goes into 10 once. 1 times 9 is 9. 10 minus 9 is 1. Annex of 0, bring it down. You get 10. 9 goes into 10 once. 1 times 9 is 9. And this is going to keep going forever and ever. So this is 2.1 repeating. Okay? Now we're going to do 11/12. So let's put 11 in the dividend end, divide by 12. This is kind of a tricky one. 12 goes into 11, or 12 goes into 1 0 times. 12 goes into 11 0 times. Annex is 0. Bring it up. 0 here. All right. 12 goes into 110. I believe it'd be 9 times. We'll do this off to the side real quick. 12 times 9 would be 108. So it would be 9 times. 9 times 12 is 108, as I checked right here. 110 minus 108 is 2. 0, bring down the 0. 12 goes into 20 just once. 1 times 12 is 12. All right. And then it becomes 8. But here's the thing. This is negative 2.91 something. This is negative 2.96 something. So we can compare them now because they're two different decimals. So that's all I need to do at this point. Let's compare the decimals. Which one has the least value? We're going least to greatest. The one with the least value, if I'm comparing the two negatives, it would be negative 2.96 because it's just a little bit farther away from 0 than negative 2.91. So we'll start off with negative 2.96. All right, and then it would come the other negative 2.91, which is negative 2 and 11 twelfths. Now let's look at the positives. Which one is the next, or the least, actually, of the positives? Would come next. 2.1 repeating. This is 2.95. So the 1 in the tens place, the 9 in the tens place, the 1 is less. So 2.1 would go next. And 2.95 would go next. So negative 2.91, that's really negative 2 and 11 twelfths. And 2.1 repeating is really 2 and 1/9. So notice the key thing, this is probably the hardest question on the test. The key thing is change the fractions to decimals, then compare. So we have negative 2.96, that's the first number, so it can't be B. Then negative 2 and 11 twelfths. So it looks like the only one that would work here would be C. There it is. Because then this one goes negative, positive, negative, positive. That wouldn't be true. Negative, positive, negative, positive. So it's C would be the only one that would make any sense. But again, you do want to show your work for this. Change those fractions to decimals. That's going to be your best bet. Okay. Again, that's probably the toughest one in my opinion. The entire test. Let's check out number 8. What is the absolute value of 89? What's the distance of 89 to 0? Well, distance is always positive. Absolute value is going to be positive. So the only one that's a positive 89 would be B. Which integer represents a decrease? Decrease means negative of 5 degrees. Decrease would be negative. So it would be negative 5. C. Which situation is not best described by a negative integer? Not negative. We're looking for the one that's not negative. Well, a loss is negative, so it's not C. B is a decrease. That's negative, so it's not B. D is below. That's negative. So it must be A. A height of 75 yards. That's the only one that would be negative. Or not negative. Not negative. That's positive. All right. The quadrants. Number 11. Which of the following correctly identifies the quadrant where the point named 2, 2 is located? Now, let's put it on the coordinate plane there. We're going to go side to side to 2, and then up to 2. There it is. What quadrant is that? Well, we labeled them last time, but you always start here. This is quadrant 1, then 2, 3, 4, like a C. They're both positive, so that automatically means they're in quadrant 1. Be quadrant 1 there for number 11. But then we have another point here. Same type of question. Which of the following correctly identifies the quadrant where the point named by negative 3, 7 is located? All right, let's find it on the coordinate plane. We have negative 3, so go side to side to negative 3, and then up 7. That point's going to be right there. Now, because we have the advantage, we labeled them, we know that that's quadrant 2, but if you go in the C motion, that's 1, that must be 2, okay? That must be 2, so it's B. Hope things are going well so far. Again, if you have any questions about, if there's a question you got wrong or there's one that you're not sure about, send me an email because, again, the test is very similar, and if you have problems on the review packet, they might come up again in the test. Number 13, which of the following correctly identifies the point for the ordered pair 4, -3? Okay, 4, -3. So we're going side to side 4, down 3. So side to side, we're going to 4, side to side, then up and down 3. That appears to be point A. So side to side 4, down 3. That's going to be quadrant 4 there. Which of the following ordered pairs correctly names point D? So point D is here. We're going to start at 0, go side to side first. -3. So it's definitely not B or D because we're starting -3 and then down 4. So it's -3, -4 because we're going down 4, which would be C. Okay, these next ones, we're going to graph and label. I'm also going to label the quadrants too, just because that's quadrant 1, 2. This might be helpful for the test to be able to label these. IV is going to be 4. All right, let's put these points on the graph. M, 0, 3. We're going to go side to side 0. No, nothing. We're not moving side to side. Then up 3. It's going to go right here. Now, what quadrant is M in? M is not on a quadrant because it's on in the axis. Now, I know it doesn't tell you to write the quadrant, but you might have to on the test, so I'm just going to jot that down. R, -3, 3. Side to side, then up and down. We're going to go side to side to -3, and then up 3. That's R. S, -2, -4. I know that's going to be in quadrant 3 because quadrant 3, they're both negative. Side to side, -2. Down 4. It's going to be right here. It's going to be S. And then we got point T, 4, -1. Side to side 4. Down 1. Point T. All right, so there's where M and R and S and T are. So R would be in quadrant 2. S, they're both negative, so it'd be quadrant 3. T would be quadrant 4. So 1 in each quadrant except for quadrant 1. Quadrant 1 got left out. That's okay. All right, last page here. Replace each circle with less than, greater than, or equal to. So remember, less than looks like an L. 0 compared to -1. 0 is greater than -1 because 0 is greater than all the negatives. So we're going to put the greater than sign. So not the less than sign. We're going to do the one opposite that. So we're going to put the greater than sign. Oop. There it is. -7 and -9. Okay, well, since -7 is closer to 0, they're both negative. This one's closer to 0, so -7 would be greater than -9. If you think about temperature, -7 is slightly warmer than -9. So again, the greater than symbol would be used here. All right. Here we go. 21. Identify the point for the ordered pair -4, 3. So let's go to the origin. We're going to go side to side, -4, and then up 3 because it's positive. That appears to be point E. That appears to be point E. Write the ordered pair that names point A. Well, ordered pair is always X then Y. This one also is ordered pair, so I'm going to put away parentheses. So point A, here's point A. What's the ordered pair for A? Well, we'll start at the origin. Side to side, -3, and then down to -4. So -3, -4 would be A. D, we're going side to side, -3, and then up to 4. So it would be negative 3, 4. So those are actually reflections here. It says write the ordered pair that represents the reflection of point D across the, and it says it in big letters, y-axis. So here's D. To reflect it, we're going to go across the y-axis. Here's the y-axis. We're going to go across it. So we're going to go in this direction here. How far is D from the y-axis? Well, 1, 2, 3. So the reflection is also going to be 3 away on the other side. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to put a point there. We call that D prime. Now it says to write the ordered pair that represents the reflection of the point D across the y-axis. So that's D prime. Oh, that's P. We got D prime here. And that is 3, 4. So side to side 3, up 4. There it is. So that's in quadrant 1. Makes sense. They're both positive. So that's D prime, the reflection of D across the y-axis. All right, last couple problems here. Okay, we got find the length of the line segment with endpoints negative 2, 5 and negative 2, should be negative 3. Okay. So one thing we can do is we can put those points on the coordinate plane, because there's a coordinate plane right here. Negative 2, 5. So we'll go over negative 2, up 5. It's going to be right here. And then we have negative 2, negative 3. I'm not sure what that line is doing there. That's not supposed to be there, that line. Negative 3. All right, so negative 2 over to negative 2, down to negative 3. So one way to find the distance, just count the grid spaces between them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it would be 8 units. However, we do want to show our work here, so let's use the absolute value way as well. We'll cross out the numbers that are the same. There's no distance between negative 2 and negative 2. Now, we have 5, absolute value of 5, and absolute value of negative 3. Would we add or subtract to find their distance? Well, they're on the opposite side of the axis. So because they're on the opposite side, we'd have to add. Also, we already know that the distance is 8 because we can count the grid squares. So we know we got to get to 8. So 5 plus 3 would get us to 8. Absolute value of both is positive because it's distance. 5 plus 3 is 8 units. So it's important to know how to use absolute value on the test, because the next question, at least on the review packet, does not have a coordinate plane. It says find the length of a line segment with those two endpoints, negative 4, negative 5, and negative 9, negative 5. So first thing we'll do, stack them up, and then we'll think, well, what number is the same between those? The same would be the negative 5. There's no distance between those. Now we have negative 4 and negative 9. Now, they're both in the same quadrant. They're both negative, so we know we have to subtract. Same, subtract. But we have to make sure to put the negative 9 first, because when we subtract, we want a positive answer, because this is a length, this is distance. So we'll put the negative 9 first. We'll subtract because these are the same sign. They're both negative. And absolute value of negative 4 over there. So we have 9 minus 4, which would be 5 units. So again, you don't have the coordinate plane, you can always use the absolute value method. 27 we're not doing, so that one's crossed off. Now, again, this is very similar to the test. If you have issues with that, let me know. If you need any help, if you have any questions for me as well, you can let me know. But I hope you have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. All right, bye-bye.